But what are maybe like some beginning steps for building a brand, or like why would someone want to build a brand as a real estate wholesaler or real estate investor?
I think the first step is one, it's just, it's simple. It's just going out there, building a website. It's going to give you more credibility. And, I would assume if you're going to, even if you want to go out there, be a successful real estate investor, real estate wholesaler, you're going to want to have a website. You could go out there for our company, Podcasting You, for anyone, you look at it, we paid $400 for the website. We hired an individual from India. It took her probably 2 weeks, did a very professional job. So I don't think cost is really going to hinder someone there when it comes to building a website, but you definitely want to make sure you have a professional website, put your bio on there, for people to learn more about yourself. And then once you do, then that's where you can go out there and start reaching out to these podcast hosts to get yourself booked on. And I find the really cool thing what a lot of our clients do is that once they get, once they're booked on a podcast, the interview goes live, they add those podcast interviews to their websites that if you're a potential, let's say you're a potential, you're a wholesaler, you have someone coming to you that wants to wholesale property, say Kansas City or Indianapolis, Memphis, one of those places, but they don't know that much about you other than what's in your bio. Obviously, you're going to make it sound in the absolute best light. You might fluff it up a little bit and that sort of thing. But when they really get to hear you on a podcast interview, they're going to allow you to connect with them a lot better. Plus, you don't necessarily have to happen a phone call with them where they could be listening to you at the gym, on the car, as you mentioned, where you're spending 30 minutes on a one-on-one format. It's just going to give you that more personal connection than, let's say, if you're at your local RIA and there's 20, 30 people there, it's just going to be hard to network with all of them at once, where on a podcast interview, you're able to network with that host on a one-to-one connection, plus the person's listening to you on that one-to-one connection. So when it comes to building the personal brand, above all else is just having that website completed and then going from there and then going on these podcasts. And we found that we work with an investor out of Kansas City, and by going on podcasts, he's been called, I believe it's the king of Kansas City in the real estate market there, other than, I guess he calls Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't like to call himself the exact king of Kansas City, but he's been able to just connect with all these investors all over the country. And for his business, he's a real estate syndicator. So by having these connections, he's been able to grow his business almost tenfold, where instead of just, finding investors in his local market where, yes, he was doing good, but to really sort of get to that next level in his life, he knew that he had to get himself more exposure. More exposure builds more of his brand, so that people are like, I heard Logan on, say, this so-and-so podcast. I really resonated with him. Obviously, if he's on a podcast, he's going to be an expert because they're not going to bring on someone that just has one or two deals under their belt. He's an authority figure that I can look at too. So it's really just, a combination of all those sort of things of building that personal brand and then becoming to, I guess, look at as an authority on the podcasts.